Hey YouTube, and welcome back to Kelly's Rambling Reviews. Today I have a Phillips infrared fryer. You can see it came with two racks here. I guess one's thinner for things like fish and vegetables, and this one's the bigger, thicker one for steaks and hamburgers. And this was a Goodwill find. You can see here that it hasn't been fully cleaned or anything like that, although the drip tray is pretty clean and the racks are pretty clean. I suspect it's just that this stuff here is a pain in the butt to clean off completely. So anyways, with my lucky find also at the Goodwill, the Phillips HD6272 I believe it is, air fryer. That thing was pretty awesome. I was very happy with that. And that, again, was the Phillips brand. And I was thinking, okay, maybe Phillips makes some pretty awesome stuff. So I went back to the Goodwill the next day, you know, just to see what they had. And then I saw this big black beast there. And I looked inside and I saw these LED lights or whatever they are. And I thought, I bet you it's some kind of like infrared fryer. I didn't know much about them. I don't normally, buy these kind of products brand new off of Amazon or anything like that. So I quickly looked it up and I was, well, actually, we plugged it in first. We found a socket and we plugged it in and the red lights came on and I put my hand over it and it was immediately warm. Not hot. Didn't burn me or anything, but it was immediately warm. And so I went, I at least knew it worked. And I was like, I bet it's an infrared cooker. And I thought, it's probably gimmicky. But then I thought, Philips makes pretty good stuff. They make the Sonicare toothbrush. I'm pretty happy with that. I love this little air fryer. And so I thought, you know what? Maybe it could be good. So I looked it up and I saw they sell for like $249, or I guess the version with two racks from Williams Sonoma or something like that sells for $299. So cats are chasing each other. So I saw that and they had it for $24.99, which was pretty decent. So I decided to go ahead and give it a shot. I thought for $25, I couldn't do too terrible. And I think actually we got this on a discount day, so we saved like 20%. So I think it was more like 21 or 22, something like that. So I've never cooked with one of these before, ever. The first thing I am going to do is soak these in the sink here. I gotta do some other dishes first, but I'm gonna soak these in some hot soapy water as it recommends to do when cleaning them. It looks like we got a little nick there. And then I'm gonna, the instructions online say to use a scraper, like a ceramic glass scraper on this. Not on the glass, but on the metal. I'm going to go ahead and try to clean this as much as I can. I'll probably only be able to clean the glass. I read a few reviews, and that's what I've heard is the worst part about these, is the cleaning of them, because the grease gets on there and it bakes and it gets really hard to clean off. So I'll give it my best shot. Either way, I am going to clean it as best I can, and then I bought myself a little steak here. You can see down in there, nice boneless New York here from my local Safeway. It got it 30% off, so I'm gonna throw that on there. I normally would grill it on my Weber barbecue out there, but it's a little chilly today, and since I found this, that's gonna be my test. So anyways, I'm gonna stop with the rambling now. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this the best I can. I don't know that I'll be able to take a video of it because my hands are going to be pretty wet and nasty, but I will show you the inside of this thing here first, so you can see kind of how it looks before I get started. Obviously it's not the best. Maybe I'll use the other side of the camera on the phone because it's a little better quality. And then I'm going to clean the racks, and then I'll probably wipe down the side here because you can see it's kind of like it's a little dingy looking. It's not the cleanest looking. I think a little bit of bleach spray or something will probably take care of that. And we'll see what happens. We'll see if it's any good or if it's terrible. All right, so let's get to it. Okay, I have finished my cleaning. It's I would say 45 minutes later, maybe an hour. I spent a good amount of time scrubbing the sides here. Let me turn on another little light here. It doesn't really help a ton. You can see that there's still residue on there. You can also see that now I've got little. It's just it's just lightly scratched. It's not like a brand new polished surface. I don't think that happened to the glass. I was just using one of these green kind of sponges and detergent, dishwater detergent, dishwashing soap and water, hot water. I used some Clorox bleach spray just for the outside. You can see it looks much shinier and nice in the button area here. Still a little bit wet, but I don't know if I've damaged my sides here, if it's gotten scratchy or whatnot, but I've got most of the stuff off. There's still some on the bottom of the glass here and the very bottom edges, but I believe that I have cleaned up enough of it to be able to use it and not have any impeding heat issues. I also soaked these in the same mixture and then scrubbed it down with a sponge on the front and the back and the handles and everything, and they're still a little bit wet, but as you can see, they look pretty good and clean. They are dishwasher safe, but I will probably do that after I actually cook with them instead of before. When I was cleaning this, I noticed, or maybe I did it, but I don't think so. I noticed that some of these are broken on the back here. You can see that the weld joint just kind of snapped, and there's I guess 3 or 4 of them that are broken. I don't think any of the rest of them are broken. This is, I guess, I don't know how that happens unless maybe something fell on them and broke them. So I think I could still use this rack, but only half of it. I'm guessing it's only a $10 or $20 rack, so it's not that expensive. But if anybody else owns this infrared cooker and they've had the same problem with these little tack welds breaking out, it would be interesting to know, because I'm pretty sure they're not going to give me any kind of warranty on this, or give me a replacement. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I bought this used. I didn't buy it brand new, but I wouldn't expect something like this to break so easily. Maybe one, I would think something catastrophic happened, but 2 or 3 of them is kind of... It's kind of a high number, I think, in one little specific area. And this one in between here isn't broke. So it's not like something fell on this whole half and broke it. It's one broke, no, this one's fine, then broken, then fine, and this one's fine. So I don't know. This isn't a big deal to me, but it's just something to note that maybe this piece isn't as well made as the rest. I still have the opinion that I believe Phillips probably makes good stuff. So I'm not going to fry yet, but I plugged it in, and I'm going to turn it on and make sure that we are working here. Okay, and we do have heat, and it is working. So we are ready to get started with this now, and I will go ahead and be back in just a minute. All right, I've got the Phillips infrared grill heating up, doing its thing. It's warm. It definitely feels there's heat. It's making a little ticking noise every once in a while. I assume that's normal. The noise in the background is actually my my hot air fryer, because I'm making a baked potato to go with it. You can see the red cast on my face. It's pretty cool. If I need to turn this on, I will, but it might make it even harder to hear me. So for now, I'm just going to assume that I don't need that. We're going to see how much smoke or whatever comes up off of the meat while cooking it. If there's not a ton, then I won't turn this on. But if it starts to get a little out of hand, I have that fan, and it's just pretty much almost right over it as if I was cooking something on my oven. So a pretty good safeguard. So I got my cut of meat over here. I'm going to season that up and get it ready. And then after this has been on for 6 minutes, I will throw it on, and we'll see what's going on with that. One of the things it recommended was to not use metal utensils on it. So I'm going to go ahead and use my plastic tongs to turn my steak. I do have metal ones over there, but apparently they can scratch this, non-stick coating. So you should use plastic or whatever this material is, coated utensils. I have a spatula somewhere, but I'm not cooking anything that needs flipping. So I'm going to go ahead and season up my steak, and I'll be back in just a minute. I've got my steak seasoned the way I like it. I'll give you a quick little zoom-in picture here. I'm not trying to plug any specific seasoning, so I'll keep the back facing, but that's how I like it. Not too heavy, not too light. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my tongs here. It's not exactly the easiest thing to do with one hand, so we'll just shook that like that. I haven't exactly been watching the timer, but I did set this to be on for 20 minutes, and then I turned this on shortly after. So this has been preheating for just about 4.5 minutes. So let's go ahead, and I will not make you wait. I will sit here and wait out the extra 2 minutes because it says to preheat it for 6, and then I will throw it on and we'll see what's what. Okay, I have switched to my front camera because it's going to be much easier for me to do this, to not have to be looking at myself and making you look at myself. But here we are with the steak. You can see now that this is down to, I said it a second ago, it's down to 14 minutes, which means this has been preheating for just 6 minutes, as recommended in the manual. Like to follow the procedures when they recommend them. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this steak on there, and you will see what I see. For the first time, I've never made anything on this before. I don't know if this is going to be a gimmick, or if this is actually going to be good, or if it'll be somewhere in between. But generally, I won't cook a steak in my oven. I will require it to be done on the grill just because that's just the way how I like it. So let's go ahead and see what we get here. So it's kind of hard to see because the lights are so red. It is cooking. I mean, there's a small amount of smoke. It kind of comes and goes. I can see it right there. I'm not sure if it'll show up, but it's definitely cooking. It's not like some kind of fake gimmick. I don't know if I would need to put this on. I'll try it for a second. I'm sure it's going to be significantly harder to hear me though, so I may have to go back in and repeat these lines with ADR later so that you can hear me better. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it off just so you can kind of hear it sizzling and see it. I don't know if this shows up on the camera. It's really hard to focus here. I can see little tiny, like, I don't know if it's grease or what, but it's falling down off the steak into the bottom of the fryer there. It's kind of interesting. There is small amounts of smoke. I would say if you have a vent above it, it's not going to hurt you to use it. Just kind of, you know, double safety. But I don't see this setting off my smoke detector. I mean, I'm going to back up a little bit here, and you can see I don't see copious amounts of smoke or anything like that. It's small amounts. Like, if you're a person who smokes indoors with a regular cigarette or a cigar, you could probably use this. Now, this is just my first use opinion of this. I don't know if this is going to get smokier or not, so I can't say, but it's definitely low smoke right now. And I would say if you can use this by like a window or by a sliding glass door way over there, or if you have a fan, oh, there's some grease dropped down into the pan. If you have a sliding glass door or a fan that you can blow it out, you could probably use this indoors without setting off any smoke detectors or anything like that, which is pretty much what they claim. They say smoke less, but like I say, occasionally I can see a little bit. Oh, that's better lighting right there. I can see little bits of smoke coming up in the back end right here. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's hard for me to see on this little screen if it's showing up or not, but it's very small amounts. So it's pretty impressive for what it can do, I would say. Now, one of the web tutorials I saw on YouTube online was cooking a steak. It was a little different cut. This is a New York strip, but he said to leave it on one side for 6 or 10 minutes. I can't remember the number, and he said that was the key to keeping it juicy inside, was to leave it on one side for a full amount of time and then flip it for the other. I tend to like my steaks a little more well done. I know you judges out there are going to say, oh, that's sacrilege. Oh, how can you like your steaks well done? I like a little tiny bit of pink in the middle, but I don't like those bleeding purple red ones. That's just gross to me. So this might be more complicated for me to cook, but since I'm a little bit more picky in how I like it cooked, we'll see if I can do that without either burning it or drying out or whatever. But I'm going to leave it on this side for the 6 minutes like he recommends. And then I will flip it once, and then I'll leave it like another 4 or 5 or 6 minutes. And then I might pull it off for a minute, put it on my plate, and cut it open and show you guys how it looks at the recommended times. I would say this is about 1 inch thick. Let's get another look there. I would say that's probably about 1 inch thick steak, maybe an inch and a half. Kind of hard to say now that it's on the grill there. So I'm going to go ahead and let this finish, because 6 minutes of me jabbering, even though this is my rambling review, while this thing cooks, can get a little bit boring. And I'll come back when I turn it so you can see how it looks. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, I think it's been about 5 or 6, 7, 8 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and flip it. If I overburned it, we'll see. If I didn't, we'll see. I'm just going to go ahead and flip it now. We can see how it looks sitting on there for somewhere between 6 to 7 minutes. Let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, look at that. That's actually not too bad. It's kind of dark. I can see that. Let's see if we can get some better light in here. It's really tough because of the red lights, but it's got some pretty heavy char marks. They're not quite the same as I would say like a barbecue you would have in your back deck char, but they're definitely there. Let's see, I'm trying to get a better angle here. What if I turn this light off? Okay, that doesn't help at all. So it's kind of hard to see them right now, but they're definitely there. Maybe if I back up, you can see them there. That's pretty decent, and the steak definitely smells good. It's been cooking real good, and that's the first flip that I just did, so you got to see how it looks. Maybe if I flipped it a second or two earlier, it might have been all right. But I'm going to let this sit on this other side now for an additional 6 minutes. With this thick a steak, normally I would do a little bit more flipping, but I'm just going to do what I saw online. Now, the problem with this grill so far is there's only really 3 settings. There's off, there's on, which is what I'm using now, and then there's warm. That's blurred up a little bit there. Then there's warm, and I don't think you can turn it down to warm and then cook your steak a little slower. Maybe you can. I haven't really looked into that. So for me, if I want this steak done a little more, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, because with those grill marks that I can see on there, I mean, they're not burnt. They're not definitely not burnt, but there's some good sear marks. I worry, like, will I get it too done just to get it not bleeding red in the middle? Like I say, I like some pink, but I don't like red. So we're going to see. I'm going to leave it on there for 6 minutes. It's been about 1.5 minutes so far. I'm going to cut back to you guys. I'm going to pull it off, put it on a plate, and cut open the middle, and I'll show you what's what. Okay, we're back. It's been about 7 minutes, as you can see from the timer, 10:21. So I guess at this time, I'm going to go ahead and pull the steak off. I'm going to put it on my little plate there. I'm going to cut into the middle. I suspect it'll be a little underdone for what I like, but I wanted to show what a steak of about 1 inch thick or so, you know, a New York strip, cooked on this thing for about 6-7 minutes, maybe 8 on the first side, 7 on the second side, just to show what it looks like in terms of char marks and what it looks like in the middle. I will go ahead and pull the steak off. Oh boy, it's heavy. And I'm going to flip it so you can see. Some might even say that's burnt. And I'll cut it open and we'll see here. As you can see, not bad. I'm going to continue cooking it for just a minute longer, but pretty darn good. Okay, so I finished cooking my steaks. I like it a little more done, but you can see there's still a good amount of pink in there. It's showing up a little better on the camera than it does in person. Try to hold it up there and see. It's a little bit tougher. I wouldn't say that they're burnt grill marks, but they are fairly dark. My recommendation would be maybe move it after 4 or 5 minutes, flip it, 4 or 5 minutes, flip it, and do that twice. So if you're going to cook the steak for 15 or 20 minutes, flip it 3 to 4 times rather than leave it, because the char marks do add up. But that being said, I have tried a few bites and it is really good. It tastes just as good as cooking it on a grill. I would probably be hard-pressed to tell the difference, maybe just a slight difference, like maybe there's a little bit less of that char smoky flavor to it, but it tastes way better than cooking in the oven. Double thumbs up for this grill.